Welcome back to TUTV Community Forum and our discussion on changes for the new GED testing coming this January. Still with us are Diane Inverso from the Mayor's Commission on Literacy and Mike Sack from Yes Philadelphia. So guys, we talked earlier about all the new changes coming for students who are actually taking the test. What are some of the changes for the cost? The cost was between $50 and $100. Do you expect that price to go up now that the new test is arriving?
Actually, it has gone up. If you're still taking it on paper, it's $75. Even this current version of it, if you take it online, it's actually on computer. It's not really online. Then it's $120. In the year 2014, when it's just going to be online, it will be $120. So it has gone up. Pennsylvania has kept it at the lowest cost possible. So they haven't added too many other dollars to it. Some states, it may be slightly more expensive.
So how can people pay for the exam? Since there are so many different mediums, some people pay cash, there are credit cards, checks, even money orders. What's the payment that we're going to be taking?
It wouldn't have been too unusual for some students to have walked in with a check or a money order. This is now that they have to be required to come in with a charge card or a loaded debit card of some kind. So they need to make sure they have that all taken care of before they even walk into the place. So that's a shift.
Is there anything else, Mike, that students need to bring in with them to show for the test other than the credit card?
I think probably a valid ID. For a community-based organization, we have subsidized the cost of the test in the past. That will be harder, and many other community-based organizations do the same thing. When students are ready to take the test, as demonstrated by reaching a certain level on the official practice test, we have subsidized their registration fee. For a community-based organization to continue doing that, that will be a cost increase, and that will have to come from somewhere, either at the pocket of the consumer or client or participant, or just make us think a little bit more carefully about who is ready and when they're ready. And so that will have implications moving forward. And a lot of this we just don't know yet. So I think that's the big thing that's going on here. We've been hearing for the last 2 years, gearing up for this new test, which was supposed to come in 2012 and didn't happen because it looked like the Common Core state standards were coming into use, and so I think the GED testing service said, let's wait and see if we can align there. And now there's been a long buildup with a lot of anxiety by a lot of different people, including clients or participants or adults, the learner themselves.
So among the changes, especially with the cost, there's a switch now. It used to be a nonprofit that helped fund for the GED, and now it's switching to a private company, which is Pearson VUE. How is this affecting the test?
Well, in some ways, the switch over to Pearson VUE was because the cost of creating a new test was going to be really pretty outrageous. And the folks who have, is it ACT, right, who handles the GED test?
ACE, yeah.
ACE. They knew that that would be something that they probably couldn't do, and also didn't have the level of expertise. Pearson VUE, who is a large publishing group, stepped forward to do this. There's a lot of concern with some of the teachers and practitioners about what is being developed here. In essence, the GED testing sites become almost like little auxiliaries of the Pearson VUE, so that you can go to those places and take the test. I don't know, it's mixed reviews, and no one, since Mike has even mentioned it, it hasn't happened yet. And there's a lot of hype, and there's a lot of information that we also still don't have. So everybody's kind of waiting.
And there will be other publishing companies that will get into this business, because anytime you have a change like this and you've got to republish all of the preparation materials, this benefits not just Pearson that has the ownership or partial ownership of the test, but other publishing companies that will be producing readiness materials, curriculum, resources. And that's another thing that organizations and centers will have to go through, is they'll have to decide what of their previous inventory remains relevant and what gets discarded, and how are they going to purchase new materials to prepare students.
So for these instructors, would you say that the harder part is going to be helping students prepare, or deciding what stuff they already have to help people prepare for the test? Is that going to be relevant what they have now, or they're going to have to go through a whole purchasing and relearning themselves for the GED test?
Well, there's the whole relearning. And again, since we don't know exactly what the test looks like, there's that anxiety of, I need to get ready to be able to do instruction. I'm not exactly sure what this test is looking like. So as an educator, I'm not ready yet. So there's a lot of anxiety about that. Everybody's trying to pay attention, gather information. And the commission actually has been offering professional development for the teachers in the community as well, so they can come out and also create forums for them to get together and talk about, as they're learning information on it, that they can exchange information as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to change teaching practice significantly, and I think one area that GED providers will have to think about is getting an instructor, or finding instruction in the content areas, whereas previously you just needed to get an educator who knew how to help somebody get ready for this GED test, who could teach you test readiness skills. The big change is this is going to be content and depth of knowledge that will require much more sophisticated instruction. The interdisciplinary teaching that Diane was referring to before, being able to toggle back and forth between math and science, and using concepts and skills and applying them and extending your thinking about them. And those are not learning objectives that come from textbooks. It comes from the interaction of teacher and student. And that will put some pressure on providers as well.
So the new test, it's going to require more critical thinking and analysis versus more like the plug and chug question. That's going to be a great change for instructors to get used to. How are they going to prepare for the new changes for the test, other than what they've already got? Is it just up in the air?
Well, part of it's up in the air, and the commission continues to do professional development for the teachers so that it's available for them to come together. And some of it is just learning on your own as an educator of what this test is to look like. I totally agree with Mike. The skills of these teachers are going to have to change to be relevant to what's being faced with their students. Because the other thing is, there's a whole mind shift. I mean, the community for so long thought of the GED as the end point for adult learners, and that's not the case. You know, the GED is essential if you don't have a high school diploma, especially. And again, it's not really the GED in Pennsylvania, it's the Commonwealth diploma is what they actually have in their hands when they pass that test. And that's essential for many people to get jobs. But the reality in our economy, a high school diploma, whether it's a Commonwealth one or a regular high school diploma, is not an end point. People have to move on to other kinds of post-secondary training, whether it's college or some kind of training. So that's also part of the thinking of helping these people, adult learners, to think beyond just the GED. You can't stop there. You've got to think about, what does this mean? Many people who come through the Mayor's Commission on Literacy looking for classes, looking for skill development, are already adults who have high school diplomas, who may have been working for a very long time in a position that got eliminated, and now back out into the job market and realize they haven't kept their skills up. And they go to take a test as part of an application for a job, and they remember, wow, what was algebra like? I can't answer these questions now. So they come back into adult education to get their skills upgraded again, and these are folks who have high school diplomas. So that's one category of adult education. Another category you spoke to is the ESL, English as a Second Language, and these are individuals who are coming to the city of Philadelphia, and some of them have professional degrees from the country they came from. They need to learn how to speak English and function with English-speaking clients or individuals. And some of the people who come who don't speak English never were literate in their own language. That's a whole other population also to deal with. So it's a little complicated in adult ed, and the GED is just a piece of it. But I think the important part is to recognize the GED gets you to a place. And I think people need to recognize you need to think beyond that.
I would agree. That's really critical, and I'm glad you said that. Because this is not about passing the GED. This is about preparing for college and success in the world of work. And it's time for this change. It is a little scary, but it's what we should be doing. And in fact, most good educators and program operators have been teaching this way and not teaching to the GED test itself. So it's an exciting time as well, and I think that's the way we need to look at it. I think too the GED testing service is aware that they don't know what this will mean, and so the first cut score for passing the new GED will be normed against the 2013 high school graduating senior and how they perform on sample items from the GED 2014 test. So while I hate to say it, that's not a very high bar. So that could be a good thing. So this second college and career readiness standard won't come in 2014. That will come into play in 2015, 2016. So I think we're all going to have some time to ramp up for it. And as Diane said before too, the Mayor's Commission on Literacy and others are providing professional development workshops, trainings. Our staff is taking advantage of it. There are webinars that the GED testing service is providing, and those are ongoing. So this is the most dramatic change from all of the changes that occur every 10 to 20 years, starting from 1942 when this test was created. But this is a big one.
All right, well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and information on the new changes. Our thanks to Diane Inverso and Mike Sack for their time, as well as their thoughts on the new GED exam. We also thank you for watching. For all of us at TU TV Community Forum, I'm Karina Chung. We'll see you next time.